So here I am with Andy Mason, and he's the new director of the National Agroforestry Center. Andy, tell me a little bit about the center and what you do.
First, let me talk just a little bit about what agroforestry is, because not everybody knows what it is. It's a cross between forestry and agriculture. It's often bringing trees from the forest and bringing those trees and what we know about how to plant them and grow them and putting it out into an agricultural setting. But agroforestry also can be out in a forest like this, and you could be growing some crops underneath the forest floor, under this forest canopy, things like ginseng or mushrooms or other foods, medicinals, florals, something like that. So that's agroforestry. Our center, the USDA National Agroforestry Center, our mission is to accelerate the development and application of agroforestry nationwide. So we work on things like there's 5 agroforestry practices that most people talk about in North America. Those are windbreaks, which are very common in the Great Plains, and they're about preventing soil erosion and keeping it on the field. Riparian forest buffers, which are applicable all around the country, where you plant trees and other vegetation next to a stream to keep the water cleaner and serves as a filter, as a buffer strip. Then there's a practice called alley cropping, where we might grow high-value rows of trees, and in between those rows of trees we have annual crops. So think of black walnut trees growing in rows, and then in between those rows maybe we're growing some vegetables or some other crops. Another practice is called silvopasture, which is interesting. It's where we grow trees and livestock like cattle and forage that they eat all together in the same system. So a landowner out there might do silvopasture where they want to get a couple different income sources, where they can get income from these trees that are being managed and pruned so they're high value, but they've also got an annual income from this livestock, and they might also get some income from the pine needles for pine straw for landscaping materials. And this other practice, which I mentioned earlier, is forest farming. And that's this one where a landowner might have a forest just like this, and they want to either manage some plants that are in the understory, or maybe bring some in, things like ginseng or shiitake mushrooms, which are very valuable in some markets. A lot of farmers markets and specialty markets out there really want some of these kind of products that you can grow on a forest floor. And floral products, things like there's a plant called galax, which is a very popular floral. So that's an evolving opportunity, this forest farming as we call it. So that's, again, our center. We want to work with partners around the country, universities, Natural Resources Conservation District, or Natural Resources Conservation Service, conservation districts, and others to find out what science, what technology do they need in agroforestry to work with landowners so that they can apply those practices that I described.
So tell me a little bit about some of the research that you're doing.
Well, there's 2, in particular, I'll talk about 2 areas of research and really technology transfer. One, very recently, we call it our Conservation Buffers Guide, and it's an easy-to-understand guide with pictures and illustrations that a landowner or a natural resource person could take and help a landowner basically install a vegetative buffer. And whether that buffer would be along a stream or on the edge of a field. And what this guide tells them is some guidelines on how wide that buffer should be if you want it to be ideal for wildlife habitat, or how wide should it be and what trees and plants should be in it to optimize water quality improvement next to a stream. Or how could a landowner plant this vegetative buffer and make it grow some as part of that buffer, so that that buffer is not only providing environmental benefits like cleaner water, but also providing an income for that landowner. The second area of research, which I've kind of touched on, is this work that we do in forest farming, or more broadly, what we call non-timber forest products. We have a project in Blacksburg, Virginia, and a scientist there that is working, actually he's recruited a number of citizen scientists, and they help him go out in the forest like this and collect information about some of these understory plants that have economic value. One of them is called black cohosh, which is a medicinal, and these citizen scientists are collecting data about these plants, collecting seeds, and we're working on how can we germinate these seeds, how can we basically trying to provide the science so that a landowner could maybe produce more of this black cohosh as an income and do it on a sustainable basis, so you're not over harvesting, and you're harvesting it so that it's there in the long run and it can produce an income for you while also maintaining a healthy forest. And these products we're talking about are native plants. We're talking about plants that are here. We're not talking about bringing in exotics. We're talking about improving the management of the existing forest and the existing plants with an eye towards helping provide an income source for these landowners.